gonna make this intro short. Taking the Miata out today. Plan is going to Smart & Final, see if I can find some Lysol spray. Gonna take local roads all the way down to the highway, make a circle around the Santana Row. Maybe, I don't know yet, get coffee. Afterwards, I want to stop by the Honda dealership as I stopped by the Subaru dealership the other day, just to, see what there is in the market. Without further ado, I'm gonna put the top down and get to Smart & Final. So I just got here and I don't see any spray. Usually this should be right here. You can see, well, there's a bunch of Clorox items here. Nothing. There's only Febreze, that's it. That was a bust. It is also 11, which means that they maybe had earlier and already sold out, or they just didn't have any in stock. On to Santana Row. Now that I'm back in the car, of all the years I've had this Miata 4, this is the first time it has really bugged me to the point where I wanted to take it out. And it's this sun visor right here. Now, I shouldn't be expecting much, but I know for a fact there are late model, Toyotas and Hondas out there that the sun visors do extend outwards. This is the furthest it will go. I can't pull it out to extend it. And earlier, I know I have some tools in the car. I happen to have this flathead. Unfortunately, it's too big. It looks rusted, so I may even have to spray some WD-40 on it. Even then, flathead, too big. I don't have a traditional screwdriver. I would need to basically remove that bolt and that bolt in order to take it out. I don't think that one's very functional either. It's just kind of funny how after all these years, today's the first time in 4 or 5 years that I've had this car that I'm really annoyed by the fact that I can't extend the sun visor. I'm actually not sure where to start. There's been a question in my mind. I've been thinking about it for some time now. What's the point in doing spirited driving on public roads when you're by yourself? For the past 10 years, as long as I've had my license, I couldn't come up with an answer. Short answer has always been, I get an adrenaline rush from it. Up until recently, I've never actually thought about the long term. Say I were to go on a short trip like this, I bring the Miata out, aggressively driving the whole time. What do I get out of it in the long term? Short run, I get an adrenaline rush. To me, it's really fun. But at the end of the day, the outcome is still the same. I go home, nothing's changed. Then I thought about the history of cars that I've had and the experiences that I've had. For example, I don't exactly know how long it's been. If I had to guess, 2 years. I've raced my dream car. I tracked the 458 in Vegas, driven the fastest production vehicle. It may just be a base model, but top tier Model S can beat a Bugatti Veyron off launch, and I personally witnessed it at Shift Sector years ago. Technically speaking, I've raced and driven my dream car, driven the fastest car. I'm not gonna say who I did it with and where I did it. I've been at a pretty high speed. What have I not done on a bucket list of needing to go fast? Is there a need to continuously be driving that fast or with the flow of traffic on public roads and on the highway? I would say it's been 1 or 2 weeks since I've asked myself the question, and I could not come up with an answer. I don't know when we're gonna pick up another daily. It may be soon, it may be, in a while. A few days ago, I went over to Subaru and I was checking out their Impreza. This supposed new daily is supposed to replace the RX and this car. The question is, am I able to get a manual transmission? And 2, which model am I gonna get? The problem I have, so the Impreza, there's 2 models. There's a hatchback and there's a sedan, but submodels, there's sport, so in order, there's premium, there's sport, base, premium, sport, limited. Now, Subaru had a base, a sport, and a limited. Sport and the limited were all sedans. The base was a hatchback. The video I may or may not have inserted by now will show I cannot fit in the back seats of the sedan model. I literally have no headroom. If we were to go over a bump, my head will hit the roof liner every single time. With the hatchback, I have maybe an inch of headroom, but that's still headroom, right? The headroom is non-existent in the sedan model. So it's not the fact that I want a fast car. If I have to make a safe maneuver, if I have to accelerate past the car just to get myself into a safe zone, does the car have enough torque? Does the car have enough horsepower to allow me to give me that kind of power to accelerate past someone and then get the safety? Say if I'm driving a Prius or whatever, I've driven a Prius twice in my life. I had the pedal to the floor. Prius just cannot accelerate for that I know for a fact. The two choices are a Civic and an Impreza. Now, a Civic I know can go pretty fast. Both the Civic and Imprezas are both momentum-based cars. The Miata is a momentum-based car. It's not fast. The 250, all cars I've owned so far have been momentum-based cars. They're not fast. All cars I've had up until this one have all averaged 200 horsepower. At the crank, even the Mustang had, I think, 150 rear wheel horsepower. Lexus is 204 at the crank. All the cars I've had thus far have all had around 100. Let's just round up to 180 wheel. Based on all of my experiences throughout the years of taking it up and down 9, 35, I want a car that will allow me to stay in the momentum. Not necessarily fast, but as long as it'll help me stay in the momentum, then I'm completely fine with it. Unless if I'm driving with friends and whatnot, you know, for some reason, everyone just likes driving 80. I don't know why. I did hit 80 twice on the way here, and that was just to match the highway speeds or to pass someone, and then I immediately dropped down to 70. I've been fortunate enough to experience such amazing cars. My question now is, what's next? I can see myself driving an Impreza. I've always wanted to own a Subaru. All the, you know, pre-2010s. I love the unequal length headers, but the problem is, I heard those engine blocks are very prone to ringland issues, actually. I'm not trying to buy a used Subaru and have the motor blow up on me, because that would suck. I'm still thinking about it. After this, we're gonna go over to the Honda dealership and see which Civics they have. That's the whole point of today's video, is to talk about why I don't drive as fast anymore. Like, I can't. The amazing thing and the best feeling in the world is knowing you are capable of doing something, but have the control and the option not to. The more I think about it, the more driving fast long term doesn't really make sense. Of all the tests I've done, if I'm going out for, say, you know, a 45-minute, an hour and a half drive, and I'm driving hard the whole time, even with friends, I am mentally dead by 7 p.m. I cannot stay up as late as I want, and for the past 1 to 2 weeks, I've been taking it really chill. I don't waste energy at all. I'm not as mentally focused as I need to be when I'm driving at a certain speed compared to when I'm just, you know, cruising on the road. I've kind of dissected the whole idea in general, and I guess categorize them under a pros and cons category. Here's something interesting, under T and more. What I didn't know that they had was all of these options. I saw the matcha latte. I might go with it. The herbal tea also sounds pretty good. I don't know what herbs there are. I mean, there are millions of herbs out there, but peppermint and sage sound pretty intriguing. Lemon yuzu fizz also sounds pretty good. Hot chocolate is always a, you know, traditional favorite. I think I'm gonna go with the matcha. Hot or cold, I don't know yet. On a day like this, I kind of, actually, you know what, I'll go with the iced matcha latte. I don't know how much that's gonna saturate the drink, but I will see you guys soon. Got my iced matcha latte. It's really good. I don't know if I've ever mentioned the bump on the directionally. I don't know which direction it's headed towards. They recently installed this really sharp bump. It's not one of those like gradual smooth and gradual down. It's literally like bump. There's one parking garage where the security office is. I saw this 488. For those of you who don't know, it's a Ferrari. I saw it exit that garage, take a left, and I was curious as to how a $400,000 supercar would handle that kind of bump. And I was watching very closely. I swear, I had like 10 people walk past me. I must have looked super dumb. The Ferrari just went at it head on. I was really surprised. I thought they would go sideways. I guess the lift system that comes with it is really effective. Now, I wasn't close enough to see if they used the lift system, but I know for a fact, 80% sure you have to use the lift system if you have one to drive over the bump. Otherwise, you're scraping your bumper. I know for this one, for this car, regardless how I go over my tires will scrape the fender well. I've done it once, that's why I know. I went over it sideways and I still scraped. Gonna leave Santana Row now, hit the highway, and luckily Honda is not too far down from the highway exit. Gonna go over to Honda, see what inventory they have. I'm over at Honda, and the internet sales manager just showed me around. They put all the Civics on the front line of the dealership lots. As I said, I'm not looking for anything too special, and the guy knew where I was coming from. This is literally the base of the base Civic, and it's 21.7. Let's just round up to 21.8. And nothing too special. Like I said before, my Lexus, I had the blind spot assist, but did I use it? Not really. I just habitually check my blind spot when I merge lanes, as we were all supposed to. To each their own. Not many, added extras. I actually put the seat all the way down, or I thought I did. The one thing I forgot what ordinary cars have is this latch right here. If there's no power adjustment, you have to adjust it by hand, but honestly that is okay to me, because full manual in my Miata I already have it, and this thing goes down a lot. And like the Miata, there's that little push bar that I have to pull to go forward. The one thing I would miss about manual is not having a clutch. However, because I'm so used to left foot braking now, I guess that doesn't really matter, because muscle memory, it'll be the same thing. I'll still be operating my left foot. Realistically, I'll be sitting from this far away, left on the brake, right on the gas. That should be my perspective. Now with the Civic, surprisingly, I think I have more range of view in the Impreza. As I probably said before, I've driven Civics a few times, so I know how the car runs. Never driven a Subaru before, so that would be new if we got a Subaru. That's what a very base model looks like. It's a LX. Kind of funny considering a LX to me stood for luxury. I don't know if it still does, it probably does, but I guess now the LX version is the base model Civic. That's the, driver's side. I hope the car doesn't lock me out. Get into the back. Now the back, for some reason, he's as tall as I am. And for me, this is me sitting all the way up. I have about that much headroom, which is roughly an inch. But overall, leg space for a Civic, it's huge. It's what the front looks like from the back. That is the base model 2020 4-door LX. The next step up is the GT, or not the GT, the Sport. I don't know why I said GT. If I wanted to still have some fun, even though I'm in a Civic, this would be the next up. Sport model. And he said the door was already unlocked, so let's go in and check. Now, the good thing about the Sport model is that I actually have paddle shifters. The LX, I don't. I already adjusted the seat beforehand because I've sat in this car already. So it's not quite a first impression, but it kind of is. The Sports, I guess I guess, this is a very big I guess. The silver pedals with the black rubber pieces are kind of cool. If anything, the most crucial part are these two paddles right here, because at least I can still control or manually control the gears when I want to. If I wanted more power, I would have to go with the Accord. These are my options. It's either a, ow, I keep getting shocked by them, must be because of the plastic, but yeah, so options are either Civic Sport or one of those LXs right here. No, he said if I wanted to go the next level up, it would be an Accord. I thought I would need an Accord because even though I do get a 2-liter turbo engine, the body is still a tiny bit heavier than the Civic. I've never driven an... No, actually I have. Brian's had an Accord and a Civic, so technically I have driven both. The thing with these cars is they're super heavy. I would have to drop the Accord on either lowering springs or coilovers to actually make the car, I guess, go into corners nicely. And only the Sport and the top line models of the both Civic and Accord have paddle shifters, so that's gonna be a bit of a problem. This is all just casually browsing the market, seeing what the market has, thanks to Adriel on Stevens Creek. I would not want to red. I would have to go to another dealership or have Adriel if we decide to go with Honda. We would have to get a vehicle from another dealership because there's no way I am driving a red Honda. My Miata is red and we plastic dipped it blue. It'd be cool if we could get, you know, a blue Civic or even, you know, a white Civic at the end, or even actually a silver one at the very, very, very end. But I am not driving a red Civic. That's a no. Completely forgot about the color. The Subaru I checked out, Sport was black, base and limited were white. Both white and black I'm completely okay with, just no red. I'm gonna end the video here. I know it's been a long video, but time to go home now. I know what I'm looking for. When you're going for a base of the base, there's not that many options. With that being said, I hope you guys all had a nice week, and I will see you guys next week.